When?
Hey Deidre, thank you for taking time with me today and allowing me to interview you.
My pleasure. Yeah.
I just want to let you know that sometimes some of the questions I ask you might be a little bit metaphorical.
Okay.
And so if there's anything that seems strange or weird to you, just feel free to just say, what are you talking about?
Okay.
Okay?
Sure.
All right. So the first thing, though, I want to ask you is, would you be willing to help me to hone my skills by answering a few questions about birth?
Yes, I can. I'm willing to help you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so, and this one might be a little funny question, but try to go with me.
Okay.
In thinking about birth in general, where would you say you come from?
And thinking about birth in general, where do I say I come from? And it's however I interpret it, right? So there's so many different things that kind of it brings up for me. It brings up like my witnessing of a first birth, and I didn't actually witness it when my mom became pregnant, and being with her while she was in labor, or for a part of her labor, and always having like an not inert, that's the wrong word, but an innate an innate draw to pregnant people and wanting to know more, and it's really interesting. I have these clear memories in my mind, like my mom in labor, walking with her in the hills and seeing her talking on the phone. Yeah, I'm in labor. And I'm thinking, oh great, we're having a baby today. And then like fast forward to when I was 16, 17, 18, my cousins were starting to get pregnant with their babies and wondering like, ooh, how far along are you and what's happening now? And then kind of setting some of that aside when I went to go study at school, because I have a strong aversion to like the sciences and things like that, and knowing that I don't want to be involved in birth in that way, in like the medicalized way.
I see.
So I come from a place where birth is really positive. It's something to celebrate. Welcoming people is like a miracle, but still understanding that it's something that's hard and it's nothing to be taken lightly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really good. So, again, interesting wording, but I'm just going to say it like it is.
Yeah, tell me like it is.
Thank you. What do you know about birth? Do you have an hour or so?
Yeah, right. Or more. When you ask me that question, it feels like I have like at least two categories, maybe a third. And there's like the medical stuff that I know about birth, the things that I have learned and I've researched and I've experienced as helping moms. And there's that bit, and then there's this other bit, what I would probably consider more magical, a little bit. That's a little bit more ethereal and harder to touch and harder to describe, because for each person that's such an individual journey. But when I think about birth, especially when we are thinking about the birth of a baby, it's like how that affects everybody else. Whether it's not just the birthing parents, but everybody in their community, and how everybody has to kind of open to make space for this person coming through. And that is, there's like an inner journey and of course the external journey, but I feel like everybody has to kind of come to terms with that, because it touches so much. This tiny little person can touch so many different people and make so many people so sensitive, and everybody kind of experiences their own sense of birth or opening when one person is pregnant. It's really crazy. Yeah.
That's an interesting thought. I appreciate that. What do you believe about birth?
I believe that birth is an opportunity to open into a new sense and understanding of who you are. It's a space where you can, or a person should be able to find more strength and more understanding than they even understood about they're supposed to be for. I also believe that birth is also a death of old beliefs, old habits, old selves, and all of that is really scary sometimes. And moving into birth, to accept all the new, to accept the new person, it's also really joyous, but it's a bittersweet event. It's not all, cupcakes and rainbows and unicorns and baby blankets and cribs and nurseries. But I also believe that in our culture today, that we are a little afraid to talk about that balance of the bitter and the sweet when it comes to birth.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, imagining perhaps maybe the closest birth that you have to this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How are you making decisions when you're facing birth? You personally.
Yeah, as a birthing person. Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, especially with my closest birth, because my youngest is almost 3. Can you believe it? Oh my golly Moses. That particular birth, I remember approaching with this need for all of the people that I invited to come. I wanted this sense of safety. I wanted them all to be like these mama bears, like surrounding me, to really help me move through. So at least now or at that time I was approaching birth with this need for support.
Mm-hmm.
And some of it was innate, some of it my birth team was like, you probably need some extra support. But really trying to be very mindful about choosing who was going to be there and understanding how powerful that was. Because, third time's a charm. Because I didn't kind of completely understand that the first couple times.
Yeah.
And none of those are a regret of the people that were present, because everybody who was supposed to be there ended up being there. But I feel like I was a lot more mindful this last time approaching gathering and preparing for the support. So that's how I approach it, with good support, because you never know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to be able to trust the people to help take you through one step at a time as it begins to unfold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
What were you afraid of?
Oh my goodness.
Same situation.
Yeah. Because this was my 3rd baby. The second time I had the misnomer. I mean, I knew that my birth was going to be shorter the second time, but I also kind of tricked myself into believing it was going to be easier. And so this 3rd time, I'm like, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. And so I was not afraid of the pain, but also afraid of what that opening was going to be like, and how I was going to make it through, which is probably why I was so intentional about creating the support system that I had. So I was mostly afraid of, how am I going to do that hard thing again? I mean, I know I'm going to make it through because I've done it, but I know it's going to be hard, and each birth was so hard in a different way. So I was afraid of how I was going to cope with the difficulty. And when I say hard, I'm not necessarily, yes, contractions were hard. They were hard. But also like opening up and making more space in my mind and in my heart. Yeah. Sorry. And even as I think about it, like, it was hard. It was so hard in so many different ways. But yeah.
And thank you. And so my final question is, what are you drawn to
when it comes to birth? As a worker or as a mother, or
I would say both.
Yeah.
Maybe finish your last birth and then.
Yeah. Well, they're kind of together. I think it took me this many 3 babies to really understand the power of postpartum support. And so now I've become such a very strong advocate for mothers, even in our prenatal classes, in our childbirth preparation classes. Even yesterday I taught class 1 of a series, and we're talking about the need for support and the need to be very mindful of the people that you bring to look after you after the birth. And so I've been trying to work with that and find a language to help people who have been I forgot the word, but like untried in labor and birth, to help them understand that it's very important you find people and surround yourself with people who can be mindful of how tender and vulnerable that newborn mom is. It doesn't matter if it's baby number 1 or baby number 7. There's a special soft space that we need to be preparing and holding for this mom. Yeah, and so like I'm drawn to I got trained to become a postpartum doula. I have again been advocating in my classes, creating more lessons and modules around building and growing this postpartum support and how important it is, because it's a longer period than the labor and birth, and a lot of times that's where people experience some emotional trauma, and that feeling of not being supported enough or wishing they had. So yeah.
And so, Deidre, last question. So, as a birth worker, what are you drawn to in birth?
Oh, at this moment, advocacy. Yeah, advocacy for those who are experiencing marginalized voices, and people who have worse outcomes, even though I'm not really outcome focused. I think when I'm coping with moms in the moment, but creating spaces that are safe for people of color to get the education they need, to get the preparation that they need so they can serve families who are on these marginalized, on the margins rather, who have worse outcomes, whether they're dying more likely or more likely to have preterm babies, or those babies are more likely to die during that first year. So how can we support them? Because I know as a doula especially, research tells us when those families work with support people, people who have another set of eyes, another voice, more encouragement and love, this can really improve the outcomes. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Appreciate
Yes.
it.
No problem.